Hello everyone, we are live, and tonight we're gonna have our first GT4 coaching session. We're gonna have our first GT4 coaching session. Uh, our coach is already ready, so let's get into it. Let me tell him I'm ready. And yeah, I did the fast laps. Yeah, he's here already. So
Good evening, Alan. How are you, brother?
hello, sir. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Yes, good, thank you. Good, thank you. How's your week been, all right?
Good, better than I thought. How about yours?
Yeah. Yeah, no, good. I did along your trail this week and ended up in some M2s as well. So we we both have had our experience. But yeah, no, busy week. Just yeah, getting ready for some well-deserved time off. I feel like I haven't had a break for a long time. So nice little reset is always good. So it'll be nice. But yeah, no, I'm glad.
Nice.
I'm glad. Obviously, had a bit of a nice recovery for you this week. I think yeah, I honestly last week completely forgot about yeah, obviously about it being the last week of the M2s really for the season. Um, yeah, and I think yeah, it definitely it definitely came up quick. But yeah, I didn't really want it to end. I think on a bad note in terms of obviously feeling a little bit uncomfortable with Lebanon. So I'm glad that you kind of found your feet a little bit more at Tsukuba again. But yeah, look, I think even from my experience in the racing, I did two races there this week, and I think like it's a really hard track to pass. It really is,
Yes.
and especially when you have guys that are very similarly paced to you. It's even worse because I mean, realistically, even when you try to put a bomb on almost in a way and try to send it in a little bit deeper, the problem is that it's very hard to clear somebody, and in the first race that I did, I had a driver that does them quite a fair bit that I was initially starting out just warming up, obviously wasn't able to get close, but then towards the end of the race I was right on the gearbox. But it was just a case of where could I cleanly make a maneuver without first of all crashing into him, but then actually being able to get right down the inside to make a pass. And there was really nowhere. I mean, there was a couple of opportunities I was able to get down the inside, like maybe into turn one or into the back hairpin coming onto the back straight. I was able to get kind of, I was able to get overlap. I was able to get up next to him. But the problem was is that every single time he'd get me around the outside, and it was just a case of, well, how are you meant to clear someone without driving super aggressively and more so driving unfair almost in a way because it's very hard to pass. So yeah, I mean, look, how have you been feeling it? Where's your thoughts at? Is it feeling a lot more confident for you in comparison to last week, and you kind of feeling a bit more back to where we're normally used to? Is that sort of true to say for you so far this week?
Yeah, I think so. Like it's been a great week. I had good races. One of the things that I still have to really get good at is at qualify. So this week was
Okay.
funny because I would go to the open lobby just like to get used
Yeah.
to the car, and I'll do like a
Yeah.
04, 03, like first lap, second lap,
Right.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And then I would
Okay.
go to the race to the qualify, and for some
Yeah.
reason I'll get like a 07, 08. It's like I just did
Right.
a 03.
Really?
Like
Okay.
what's going on? It's the same
Right.
track.
Okay. Yeah.
But I also had like good races in the sense my first race I was pole, and I was back like it
Yep.
was
Oh,
a
fantastic.
weaker SOF, so I was back to back like
Okay.
ahead of everybody. Then I had another race that I
Yeah.
won. That was like there was this guy Ivan. He's pretty fast, like he's a 4 point something
Hmm.
k.
Okay.
I'm tired of racing him and him being like half a second faster than I am. So when I saw him in
Sure.
the
Yeah.
lobby, I was like, okay, that's one of those. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was faster than he was, like in the qualify.
Right.
Then in the
Oh,
race, he was
fantastic.
faster than I was. But as you said,
Okay.
like it's a good track to defend if you are
Yes.
in a similar pace.
Yes. Sure.
There
Yes.
was
Yeah.
another race that there is Rudy. Rudy's this guy who has been racing iRacing since like 2013 or something like that.
Oh, really?
He's
Yeah.
pretty
Wow. Okay.
strong. Like he's pretty strong. His
Sure.
I think he stopped and then he came back. I don't know what his full story is,
Okay.
but he's around like 6K I rating. But every single time I race him, he's one of those that post like the alien lap times so far ahead
Okay.
of everybody else. But it was
Mhm.
his
Mhm.
first race. He just joined the lobby. He started behind me for the first time in his life. and I was able to defend him the entire thing. So
Amazing.
I was super
Fantastic.
happy, and I also got some good overtakes. I don't know like what
Yep.
happened to me this week,
Yep.
but I just like the last corner that I was saying that I was trying to be very consistent.
Yep.
Whenever I got like a very good exit there, I could overtake people there. But I think I have done like overtakes in every single corner, just like
Yeah.
full
Oh,
of
fantastic.
confidence, going on the inside, braking later, parking because like
Good.
once you park on the apex, I mean
Yep.
you are on the other person's hands as well. But
Yeah.
once you
Correct.
park on
Yes.
the apex, like it's a very short straight that we have after that. So usually
Yes.
that works out well, and then you can defend on the inside again if that's the case.
Yes.
So
Yes.
pretty good week. Pretty good week.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I'm glad you kind of feel back the confidence with everything. Because yeah, I mean, look, I think for everybody, almost in one way or another, that week at at Navarra, I think always sends everybody for a bit of a loop. To be honest with you, I mean, even for me, it's always quite a tough one. In all honesty, even for me, I think I'm always very used to whenever I do a reference lap, it's always there or thereabouts. It's always pretty much kind of quite competitive, and it's always usually up the front in terms of what times you then go and see during the week. But yeah, that one in the Vara that we did, I was probably like a second off realistically. And again, it's not you know not a perfect lap from me, or clearly not where the pace needed to be. But again, at the end of the day, I think it's always that biggest thing of it's not about always that time, right? It's just about, and as you've learnt, I think over the past 12 weeks now, it's all about learning how to just execute it and what you need to do to execute that. Not once, not twice, not three times, but every single lap in the race. And that's realistically where it always comes down to. Because, yeah, you can have the pace and you can have the speed, but if you can execute it maybe only once out of a 15-minute event or a 12-minute event or whatever, even in an endurance race, if you can only repeat that number once, then what's the point? Because obviously it just makes you kind of, it just makes you kind of useless almost in one way or
Yep.
another because you can't execute what you're trying to consistently. So, yeah, no, I think that's really been the biggest thing. Now, obviously, I don't know if you saw, but there's a there's a new M2 coming out next
Yep.
season.
Yep.
That's going to be quite interesting. I'll be very interested to see how that handles in comparison to this. I really do wonder whether it's going to be the same sort of ideology where it's kind of as we've gotten used to, it's a little bit more of a snappy car, on the throttle, a little bit more kind of not just neutral like something like a GR86, or even, as I'm sure you felt a little bit, like the GT4 almost in a way. It's going to be interesting to see how that is developed, but yeah, no, it'll well, I mean, realistically, you could say kind of doing one of the last weeks realistically of the car, and that's realistically going to be it for it. So yeah, but no, look, I think really good. I'm happy that's been good for you this week, because yeah, I really do enjoy Tsukuba. It's probably one of my favorites. It's always just a nice little fun circuit. Like I said again, when you have really quick guys around you, if you're ahead, it's good. But if you're the guy that's behind, it also can be quite a fair bit tougher to make a pass, because it's just like, well, where do you do it? How do you do it? And I guess where do you get that extra, half a tenth to a tenth to kind of be able to set up a maneuver, or just have that little bit of extra overlap over somebody, or extra speed overrun on somebody to be able to set up that move. Otherwise, if you're basically there or thereabouts identical, it nearly becomes impossible
Yep.
to ever do it. So it's always one of those things. But obviously on the other end, the GT4. So yeah, I mean, look, what's your initial thoughts with it? I think honestly, in my opinion, you've had a really nice starting point in there from what time you were able to do on the same conditions as me, which was really good. But yeah, I mean, what's your initial feedback with the car? What's the biggest probably thing that you feel different from the M2? Do you definitely feel like it has a little bit more? It's a lot more stable coming out of corners. It's got a lot more stability just overall in comparison to the M2. Or yeah, what's your initial feelings with it, I suppose?
It's interesting. I was trying to think about this question because we talked about this offline
Mm.
yesterday. And I was
Yeah.
trying like today when I was going for fast laps. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I cannot quite pinpoint like the differences because I
Okay.
remember my
Yeah.
first my first boss used to say like if you drive a Beetle and you go to drive a Ferrari, you don't really notice the
Uh-huh.
difference. But once you go back
No.
from the Ferrari to the Beetle, then you start feeling the
Yeah.
difference, right? So I don't think I have
Yes.
been like
Yes.
enough on the Porsche to go back to the
Okay.
M2 and say like, "Oh crap!" Like the GT4
Yeah.
just does
Yeah.
this so much better.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I think like the things that I can say confidently after like a couple laps at Monza, which I think is an interesting track because it punishes you a lot on the exits.
Yes.
So if you're not like
Yes.
perfect on the exits, you're gonna like
Yes.
suffer a lot in terms of lap
Yes.
time. Is the car
Yes.
handles very well, and I felt very
Yes.
comfortable, and I had in mind
Yes.
like all the things that we've discussed. So the first
Mm.
thing I did, I didn't quite find the numbers, but like how hard can I
Mm.
brake before I engage the ABS? Right?
Yes.
So let me go
Yes.
harder and harder because I'm so used to have like a soft foot on the M2, and I
Yes.
could
Yes.
go pretty hard. And then okay, like if I can
Yep.
go this hard, maybe I can brake like closer to the corner. And I think I told you yesterday that
Yep.
I was losing a lot of time in the entry, and then let me brake
Yep.
like more inside until the point that I lose like the entry of the corner.
Yep.
The other thing that I felt is it's a car that's more responsive when going around the corner. So I feel that
Yep.
with me, the M2 tends to understeer a lot. And
Yes.
once I
Yep.
oversteer, it tends to oversteer a lot. So it's very like it's a very sweet spot that you get a rotation
Yes.
that you want and you go around the
Cool.
corners. I don't know if
Yes.
that's true, but I felt this car was maybe a little bit more forgiving or maybe a bit more
Yes.
responsive. So
Yes.
sometimes like I might be too fast here, so I'm just gonna like turn the wheel and hope the car's gonna go like where I want it to go. And more
Yep.
often than not, it goes like it just follows the path they were trying to go. So I was able,
Yep.
like my last few laps, to carry more speed around some of the corners.
Yep.
But it just drives super well. It just drives super well.
Yep. Yep. No, that's great. Yeah. No, I think all those ideas and I think approaches are all very yeah, very true to say. I think about this car. Without a doubt, I think typically, the biggest thing is always that's quite interesting is how, you know, I guess, yeah, just how kind of much difference. I think the balance is more so than anything. I think that's always the biggest thing that will get, as time goes on and as you drive, this car more. I think you'll be very, very, yeah, very surprised with the big difference between the two. Now, it'll be very interesting to see, like I was just mentioning before, with the new M2, how the balance will go and change with that sort of new version. Because I think if I wouldn't be mistaken, from what I know about that M2 that they're bringing out, it's a very stabilized car. It's not really one that kind of gets quite snappy on you almost in a way. It's a bit like the GR in my opinion. It feels a lot more balanced. So yeah, it might be kind of, quite good, I think, coming into next season to, drive something like the GT4. Because in terms of the M2 car, it might also give you the same feelings almost in a way as they go and now update this car. Because I think, since the beginning when we first started talking with this M2, and I think just, always thinking about realisticness in terms of the car, the way that this M2 drives on power, it never really made sense to me. I've never really driven a race car that feels so squirmy back on throttle and just is so reliant on higher gear usage to keep the car balanced. It just no car really has ever typically felt like that for me, no matter if it's been an open wheeler or a tin top car. It's nothing that I've really felt of, both in a real life sense and on a sim sense, to be honest with you. So I think it's definitely something that a lot of people have typically complained about almost in a way, because I think it makes the style not unique, but I think it, as you figured out, it makes you have to drive a lot more, a lot more leniently, but at the same time, you got to do it leniently, but right on the sort of edge. So, in comparison to the GT4, yeah, you kind of feel like it's a lot safer, but it's just more so, again, I think having that extra safety barrier or that safety net almost in a way just allows you to push things a little bit harder. So it's good to hear that you were playing around with the ABS stuff, which is obviously really, really good. Now, I definitely agree. You can go a little bit harder on the brakes in this car. You definitely can be, if you need to be a little bit more over 65% than you would rather than obviously rather with obviously the BMW. Now the big thing is that that can definitely work quite well at tracks like this where you have really, really long, really heavy, really deep braking zones. But it's the braking pressures like that are probably going to hamper you as you go to a lot of different tracks throughout the calendar. Because the problem is that Monza's quite good for it because obviously, for example, somewhere like turn one, you know, you have a lot of straight line braking, right? It's when you start to get into corners, like if you were to go to Alton Park, for example, or you would go to somewhere like Lime Rock, or you were to go to somewhere like Snetterton or Sebring, all these other kind of circuits that GT4s tend to visit, and you've got a lot more kind of heavy braking zones, yet they're kind of more radius at the same time. They're not exactly just a straight line braking zone. Those are the ones that typically you probably will find that you might start to struggle with doing a lot higher of a pressure. Because again, as we know, when we brake hard and try to turn, that's when the ABS usually tends to kick in. So although you definitely can use a little bit more brake pressure in this car without a doubt, I usually try to just keep it still around the same marker of that's kind of 65-ish%. That's usually what I feel like is most comfortable for me on a consistent basis, right? Because as we know so well with the M2, you know, you can definitely get away with more. And I think, you know, if you really wanted to with the M2, you could probably brake slightly harder and get away with it, 100%. But the thing that we always have been discussing, and I guess the thing that you've learned the most this season, is the consistency, right? And you just need to find a style that works most consistently. And just with the same idea as what we've learned with the M2, I find the exact same thing lingers on with the GT4, where I, you know, got to keep my peak pressure there about 65. As you figured out, definitely. Can you brake harder? Yes. Can you go faster? Yes. Can you do it consistently as maybe the tyre gets warmer, if the track's warmer, if the wind is in a certain direction, if the track's a certain type, if you've got more radius corners, more straighter corners, all these different factors, does it give you the same result? Probably not, right? So you've just got to kind of think about in the sense of, you know, we are driving in quite cold, and typically probably as it would start to get hotter, that ABS flicker would probably get a little bit worse as it would get warmer, right? So that's just what you got to kind of think about in that manner. So does that make sense a little bit to you there, Alan?
It does. It does. It does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Okay.
one thing, like, before we end, like, because we're gonna talk about the track, but before we
Yes.
end, I've watched 1,000 videos talking about how to
Yeah.
warm up the tires,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I feel like 95% of the people, they talk a lot about how to warm the front tires, that you
Yeah.
can go
Yeah.
even and like do these things, but I've never learned really how to warm up the rear tires. And I
Yeah.
remember when I used to race, like the few races that I did with the GT4, I'll never forget like one race that was aggressively trying to heat up my tires, and I got like good temp on the front tires. The rear
Mm-hmm.
tires are not a temp, it's like I screw it, let's see what happens. And I
Yeah.
just went spinning like on the first corner. Like there was grip on the front tires, no grip on the
Yeah.
back tires. And I was just
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
bullet. I didn't take anyone out with me, but I could have. Like
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
lost complete
No, for
control.
sure.
So yeah, that's one
Yeah.
thing for us to
No,
discuss
sure.
today.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's always a hard one, the tire temperatures. I think, to be honest with you, because I think, you know, like you said, scrubbing the front tires is super duper easy. But it's always a case of, especially with these cars that have a traction control system in them, it makes it quite hard to kind of heat up those rears as well as you kind of want to. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, obviously in something like an open wheeler where you don't have TC, or just any car that doesn't really have TC, you can basically just really stop to a halt and slow down quite a lot and really just full of throttle. Like I remember in you know, in you know, my racing in GTs, and some open wheeler stuff, you could, you know, if you didn't have the TC on or didn't have TC at all, you could basically go out the pits and just put the foot to the floor and you would just spin up the rear tires coming out of the pit lane, and you would always just generate some initial tire temperature from that alone. Now in terms of, again, with iRacing, you know how sensitive these guys are in terms of the bloody safety system and the whole kind of, you know, penalty system with going too slow or trying to do all this sort of stuff. Because at the end of the day, I mean, through the years, there's been so many different tire warming approaches. You know, there's been things like brake dragging, there's been things like grass tipping, you know, there's been all these little things like that. But typically, as we know as well, right, at the end of the day, the way that you got to kind of think about an iRacing tire model is that, again, to get the most out of the tire, we don't want the core to ever be warm, right? We just want the surface to be warm. That's the biggest thing that you're always aiming to look for. So when you start to get that surface and the front core too hot, that's obviously then when you start to feel like things like scrubbing and you start to feel understeer, and that's always a problem when you're dealing with very hot tracks. That's usually what typically tends to transpire from that, almost in a way. But I think the biggest thing is just like, yeah, there's no real proper way to actually heat up the rear tires. The only thing that usually I like to do when I'm driving these cars, almost in a way, is if you kind of start from the box, like coming out of the pits, and either if you're in qualifying or even in just a normal practice session, when you do floor the car very aggressively off a stop, pretty much in a way, you typically tend to feel the TC just kind of go a bit like a brrr, like it starts to just kick in ever so slightly. But what you actually can do, and it's a little it's a little trick that not really many people know about, is there's actually a TC off button in iRacing that you can have on your steering wheel. And what it basically does is no matter if you're on fixed, no matter if you're on open, anything, it actually cuts off the TC for about 2 or 3 seconds when you click this button. And typically what you can actually do is coming out of the pits in these cars that have TC, you can actually click the button and it actually turns the TC off for a couple seconds. And what it allows you to do is it actually allows you to really spin up the rears. And what you can actually do coming out of, corners as well, when especially you're going through slower corners, you can click the button, click power down, and you're going to get the rears kind of spinning up almost in a way. So that's a little trick that you can definitely use. And let me show you where it is in terms of inside of the game, because yeah, it's something I turned on quite a while ago. I don't use it all the time, especially when I'm driving. I don't typically tend to use it on a lap, but I
But
typically like to use it in that sense. Yeah.
can you also do it like in the that warm up lap before like the rolling start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So it should be, where is it here? So TC, where is the value? Is TC, where is it? It's TC trigger, traction. Let's see. Yeah, so here it is. Traction control toggle is this one here. So
Okay.
obviously, yeah, this one. So this one in this kind of car, so obviously doesn't really seem to work in the GT4, which is a bit of a shame. But in cars like the GT3s and stuff like that, you're able to kind of use it, and it really helps just with that type of stuff. But clearly, yeah, maybe it's not available to use, which I didn't really know of, to be honest with you, in this car, which is a bit of a shame. But it's something that, yeah, you can typically tend to use in a fair few cars. So yeah, that's a strange one, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to work as well in this, but this is something I like to use as a little bit of a trick to get some more tire warming going into the car, when it's when it's another one. But I don't know if maybe because it's, if I'm in the replay or something like that, maybe it doesn't come up. But I wouldn't say that it would. But yeah, that's something that I've liked to use in the past. But yeah, I think, look, it's definitely strange. But yeah, to answer your question completely, there's no true way to warm up your rear tires. It's always going to be something that's going to be a struggle. Even if you're just weaving left and right as well, you're not really generating that much tire temperature. In all honesty, especially in these GT4 cars, the really important thing is to just make sure that you're driving the car very aggressively on your outlap. You're not over driving it, but you're driving it quite hard. You're attacking the corners, you're braking quite aggressively, doing all your sort of stuff like that. You're not just kind of easing into it. You're not going slow. You're not doing anything like that. You're just trying to generate as much temperature as you can, as quickly as you can, almost in a way. And typically, yeah, that's how you're going to be getting the most out of tire temperature. But yeah, the fronts isn't always an easy one to get the tire temperature out of. But I think, yeah, the rear tires is always one that's going to be a little bit more of a struggle. But like I said, yeah, coming out of the pits, I usually, especially when you're in the qualifying stuff, I usually just like to put my foot to the floor, and you typically will hear the kind of the rear tires just that like TC. But actually, when you're doing that, it's just generating temperature almost in a way from the actual TC, and just generally from kind of that resistance that the tires are giving as well. It just generates some temperature almost freely, pretty much in a way. So yeah, no, it's certainly just one of those things that from a driving perspective, it's always hard to do. But is it something that you've really ever struggled with much in the BMW? I don't really feel like rear tire grip is too much of a problem in the BMW, to be honest with you. I think generally you can get the car up to temperature quite quickly, especially in the qualifying sessions, for example.
Yeah. Not in the BMW, like more in the GT4. But okay, so what I'm hearing from you is like it's really hard. That's why like nobody has a good explanation or like an easy explanation.
Yeah,
But if I can play with the traction control, then that's the way. Otherwise,
yeah,
just try like to weave the car and
yeah,
play safe like the first 1 or 2 laps.
yeah. Correct. And again, the one thing you've always got to remember about how we're going about everything, almost in a way, is that obviously from the open practice here to the race, just like the BMW is, and just like every other car is, you're always going to be running into that that area of the tires are obviously going to be in different condition, right? So we always know that when you're in a paraffin practice session like this, when you go out the pits, your tires are going to be basically stone cold, right? There's going to be no tire warmers, no pre-preparation tire, nothing, right? As soon as you go into obviously an official race, so whenever you do your BMW stuff, whenever you do obviously this, in terms of an official race, your tires always are pre-prepared. So whenever you go out in qualifying, you've already got temperature in them. Whenever you load up for the race, you've already got temperature in them, right? So they're never going to be as cold as what they are right now. So was that something that you were aware of?
Kind of. Like I've seen a couple of
Kind
videos
of.
talking about like the temperature, and even in qualify,
Yeah.
like if you crash and you go back
Yeah.
to the pit lane, you're gonna have like
Yeah.
stone cold tires. And I think
Yeah.
someone was
Yeah.
saying like just go and reload the
Go
setup,
on.
like even if it's fixed,
Yeah.
it's
Correct.
fixed.
Yes.
I don't know if you were
Yes.
the one
Correct.
telling me that or someone else, but I think I saw this somewhere.
Yeah. 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 No. Yeah. I think I probably have mentioned it at some point before, I believe. But yeah, if not, I think yeah, definitely is something to keep in mind of. So yeah, I mean, the cold tire in this shouldn't be. It shouldn't hopefully feel as bad as maybe what it is when you're actually in a proper race, for example. I think yeah, it's obviously just the kind of the stone cold tire that's always quite a bit tough. Now this car definitely did. Yeah, it had a physics update. I think at the beginning of last season, if I'm not mistaken, and it did kind of become, I think, a lot more looser to represent. I think a real life cold tire maybe a little bit more. Um, and yeah, it definitely made the car a little bit more on edge. I think for the first few corners, um, in comparison to what it used to be. But I feel like in terms of like when the tire's up to temperature and the tire's functioning, it seems to be doing relatively quite well, and it seems pretty decent once you get up to a good into a good window, and it feels fun. I think that's really the biggest thing. It feels quite fun. But I think from a driving standpoint, in terms of structurally wise, I think to see that you've been able to jump from car to car and make a transition super duper easily has been initially fantastic. The one thing that I'm sure that maybe in one way or another you probably realize a little bit more with this car, I think a little bit more aggressively than probably the M2. Um, it really appreciates the peaking and the hold a lot more. And when you have a little bit more of like a peak and a release almost in a way, but not really like a peak and a release kind of, just our usual like, when we peak on the brake and start to slowly degrade the brake before then we actually drop it off to make the proper rotation angle that we're trying to aim for. Um, it costs you just that little bit of time because there's that little bit of extra speed that you're starting to pick up as you're releasing the brake. It can sometimes always tend to cost you coming into a corner. So typically, I think the biggest spot where probably that occurred, and really the only spot where nearly that almost occurred, was coming into turn 4 and 5, so the second chicane. But you can also see that that is the one corner where we lost the most time in comparison to one another. And that's really the biggest difference as to why it kind of occurred. Because again, when you're obviously braking slightly earlier, maybe it made you feel like you wanted to release the brake a little bit more, but then of course then it tried to, obviously then everything speeds up a little bit again, and maybe the momentum starts to switch, so then it makes you react. Maybe you got to turn more, maybe you got to trail for longer, all these little things. So did you kind of ever really have you picked up on that at all from the laps you've done so far? Have you felt the difference between actually feeling like, okay, I'm peaking and holding the pressure, and then feeling like in some cases you peak and release? Or is it maybe something that naturally was just probably potentially happening and really didn't maybe pick up onto it too much in a way?
Yeah, I don't think like it was a very conscious thing. I was
Okay.
because I was trying to brake later than what I
Yeah.
usually would do. I think I
Yeah.
was trying
Yeah.
to hold like for longer. What I've
Mm.
noticed before, that's even in them too, is that like
Yeah.
I stopped. I'm trying to stop doing that. Like two things. The
Okay.
first, because I'm like afraid of engaging the ABS. What
Mm.
happens to me sometimes is instead of going to my peak pressure like right off the gate, I go like
Yeah.
slowly to the peak pressure, and
Yeah.
I feel like after some time holding the brake, I don't know if it's
Mm.
fatigue or if it's just like me trying to not engage the ABS because as I feel
Yeah.
like as you slow down, the ABS kicks in like more like quicker.
Okay.
So I think like I tend to release slightly to avoid like triggering the ABS. But I don't
Right.
know, like you mentioned yesterday, today when I did the laps, I didn't think about it, but definitely something
Mm.
for me like to pay more attention to is like
Mm.
squeezing it and holding,
Yeah.
having that pattern like with this car.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? In all honesty, Alan, like I find myself doing the exact same thing sometimes. Even with as much as I talk about it, and I did do it. I know I did do it when I was driving this car, and I had to. I haven't driven the Cayman in a little while, to be honest with you, but I had to remind myself to do it almost in a way. And I always know that sometimes, when you look at it in terms of like in a software sort of thing, I always know that I can find myself peaking and then just sort of start slowly coming away from
Yeah,
it and then trailing off. But it's very much important to just be able to do this, something like that, right? And just be able to hold it smack bang on the pressure and then always release, right? Because as we know, right, and the one thing that we always remember with um, the M2 that you're going to be able to carry across to these and to whatever cars that we drive in the future, it's very much a case of that, yeah, look, there's definitely cases where you can peak and start to release quite early, right? You can start to release that brake aggressively in some situations. But we always remember that those corners are the ones where we're kind of, there's a radius to it, right? It's only corners where there's a radius to it. Think about these chicanes that we're dealing with. Is there any radius? No. Is there only just a little 90-degree left-hander kind of that then obviously, changes over to a right-hander? Yes. But ultimately, the initial part of the braking zone is just a straight line. So we know that whenever we're dealing with just a straight line, we've got to make sure that we're absolutely holding that pressure as flat as we can. Almost in the case of if you wanted to put a teacup on top of the thing, you would be able to, whereas obviously in our situation, it would probably slide off if you were to kind of put one on the top because it's not like a flat top kind of braking almost in a way, right? So when you look at someone like T1, we did that very well, right? We both did that very, very well. And in my opinion, you probably did it maybe even better than me, to be honest with you, which is great. And I really like to see the approach that you had here at turn 1 and 2 because you kept that exact same approach that we learned when we looked at the BMW here last time, where we're not trying to get back on the throttle in the middle. You're just trying to carry the brake all the way to turn 2, right? And that was really, really good for me to be able to see because you remembered that philosophy. And you didn't revert back to the kind of old way of doing this corner, which again in these Caymans is very easy to do, and just in GT4 it's very, very easy to do. But yeah, definitely, I'm very happy to see that worked for you quite well. But yeah, I think it's crazy to see through someone like 4 and 5 how much time you can lose just by a little difference in the braking. And that's the one thing I think with this car you're going to find is a lot more aggressive with these cars. And I think it's why I always like to say, like, in terms of progression, it's always good to start out with the more kind of, lower end cars almost in a way, because again, it teaches you all the little basic fundamentals that, again, coming straight into GT4 is probably something that, yeah, it would take a lot of time for you to build up to. But I think from a driving perspective, you know what you're looking for and you know what you need to do to achieve it. It's just about making sure that you're doing the right thing. But you can see that realistically, in comparison to one another, just because you broke ever so slightly earlier, and just obviously because you broke, obviously to that early pressure, and then of course released it a little bit with then obviously caused you to have that difference in the on throttle phase. That's generally what costs you your time, because realistically what kind of happened is that coming in initially you slowed the car down more, right, which is obviously completely fine. Obviously as you started to then release the brake, what happened? Your momentum started to increase, right? But the problem is that where your momentum felt quick was basically right at the apex, almost in a way, right? So when we obviously think about the momentum switch right at the apex, it would have then meant that you had to trail the brake on for longer, which is what you did. It also would have then meant that you had to get on your throttle a lot later, which is what you also did. And then in the end, you also got back to full throttle a lot later, which you also did. So the problem is that the little difference in terms of that braking zone, in terms of you peaking and trailing a little bit, whereas well, not even really peaking and trailing, just peaking and releasing just maybe a slight little bit too early in comparison to me, obviously just holding it flat, it very easily changes these dynamics in what the car does and what the car feels almost in a way, right? Now, for you, it probably wouldn't have felt like anything, right? Because it probably would have felt okay. It would have felt fine. I'm sure in your mind you probably felt like you did it quite decently. And again, it looks absolutely superb. But when you compare it to me and see just how much time I'm able to gain and the little differences as to why I'm able to gain that little bit more, it makes you say, yeah, damn, well, that's just how sensitive these cars are almost in a way. So these cars, you have to be very, very sensitive with what you're doing and really, really make sure that in an approach point of view, you're doing everything in the right way. Because yeah, one little indifference is the difference between you, yeah, like in this case, losing 3.5 tenths and gaining 3.5 tenths, right? And that's a really, really big chunk of time for something so small. But that's why obviously these cars are considered that next step up, because it's kind of like, you know, you go from maybe being able to get away with a few little things in the M2, and you can definitely execute again. Look, you know, things definitely still will maybe cost you time, but the same thing that might cost you not much time in the M2 is going to cost you probably nearly double the amount of time in the GT4, right? So you've got to be very, very conscious of your approach. And again, that's why I think it's great to have all these, you know, little things that we have, like the telemetry software in the game, that you can see what you're doing. Because again, when I was driving the other day, I saw it and I was like, oh wow, okay, you know, I need to make sure I don't do that. And straight away, it made me feel much better about the corner, because it just always feels like, again, when you start to kind of just release the brakes slowly as you're coming into the braking zone, it just feels like you're gaining momentum coming into the apex, right? And is that something that you were able to feel a little bit? Would you ever be able to feel like in this situation, for example, it was maybe starting to get faster towards the apex, or again, was it something so subtle that you probably didn't really pick up on it?
No, I think like this was an interesting one. I think this is the one that I'm struggling the most to get it right, to be
Okay.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And I remember like from the because my initial reaction is to go like to sacrifice a bit of the first corner to have a better exit on the second
Yes.
one, but that was
Yes.
leading me to go on the gas as I hit the apex of the second one, and
Yes. Yes.
that is like super slow, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
then I naturally, okay, like I have to go much earlier here, and I just have to throw myself on the first apex here, like on the first part, which is not flat. So there is like some,
Yeah.
if you don't do it right, you can either get an off track or you
Yeah.
can unsettle the car a lot. So those are kind of the things
Yeah.
that I was trying to play around
Yes.
this one. And
Yeah.
I felt that I didn't quite find my brake marker yet, because I
Okay.
was
Yeah.
either over slowing it down. So whenever I got
Yeah.
to the first like leg of the chicane or
Yeah.
this S, I was
Yeah.
too slow. So it's like damn, like and I'm
Okay.
already losing a lot of time,
Yeah.
or I was going too late. So I was kind of
Yeah.
trying to find that like
Perfect point.
yeah, and I think I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going around like midway through these two things, which doesn't help a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. So one thing that I always find I'm aiming for in terms of like like a GT4 or GT3 thing, usually most of the tin tops, to be honest with you, it's this first orange bollard on the left-hand side, pretty much. That's always what I'm aiming for in terms of a braking zone. If it's a GT3 or a GT4, I'm always aiming for that first one. So as soon as I pass that on the left,
Okay.
bang, straight into the brake, right? That's what I'm always tending to aim for. Then obviously, yeah, like I said, obviously you peak, you hold, and then obviously you trail in as you turn, get over the apex, and then obviously you start the power on, crack the throttle as you hit the curb here, and then obviously power through. Now, the one big thing also as well is curb usage in this car. So obviously, as you can see, yeah, you can you can certainly use the curbs a lot more aggressively in these cars in comparison to BMWs. So were you typically able to notice straight away off the bat that, yeah, I mean that kind of that pogo feeling kind of was disappeared for you almost in a way? You felt like you could be a lot more assertive on the curbs in comparison?
Yeah, like I didn't think about it. Like I was attacking the curbs. This one was one that I did not use.
Yeah, okay,
So like
sure.
maybe it's still like the me like with my BMW M2 mentality. The first one
Yes,
though,
yes.
like I'm doing exactly, I think I'm doing exactly what we're doing, which is just like
Yeah,
driving through it.
yeah.
But this one, like
There's
I
that one.
think I went around it.
Yeah, okay. Right, right. So, yeah, that's the one mentality that you have to obviously slightly adjust when you come into these cars now, and I guess as well moving forward into cars like GTs and things too. Like, you can just use the curbing more aggressively, right? There's no more pogo stick bouncy effect that you'll get from a curb almost in a way. You can just see basically as soon as you take a curb and basically you get off the curb, you know, you're flying and then you land, it just lands. You know, it just lands and off you go, right? You know,
Yeah,
there's no
bouncing
second
forever.
phase.
Yeah,
There's no bouncing from it, right? So obviously you remember how the M2 reacted when we came here and we tried it here. It was a completely different story through the chicane. You could barely use the curbs through there because again, the car just wasn't going to react in the way that you wanted it to, which made it quite tough. So yeah, no, I think again, curb usage in this car is really important. Now, obviously you can use a fair bit of the curb as I'm sure you saw through Ascari, for example. So coming at the back, you can kind of hop over the left-hand side curb quite a fair bit aggressively. You can also use these kind of ones through the Lesmo sections as well. You can see that you use, the one realistically on the right-hand side if you need to coming into here. You can get over that,
Yeah.
no worries. Obviously, again, like I said, you can get over this one quite aggressively as well, right? So you just want to completely change the mindset with how you're approaching taking curves in this car, because it reacts super duper differently. So curves become your best friends rather than curves being your worst enemies in the BMW. So that's just something you want to keep in mind with. But yeah, does that whole conversation kind of make sense to you about the whole braking thing, and I guess just being a little bit more aware of the way that you're doing it, I guess a little bit more aware of the actual structural approach that we're dealing with into corners, as we've learned? Obviously, you have all of these things in the back of your mind now, like you're squeezing your releases, your kind of peaks and your holds, your peaks and your trails, all the like little different skill sets that we've learned over the last few months. You've got that all now behind you. Now it's just really being able to say, okay, well, what corner needs this, what corner needs that. And I think this car will just basically make you say, okay, well, this corner 100% needs this, not maybe 99% needs this, it 100% needs this. And if I can do this, then typically that should help me out quite a fair bit. So does that quite clear for you there, bro? Is that all self-explanatory with that?
Yeah. We're on the same page.
Yeah. So no, that's all really, really good. But yeah, I mean, honestly, man, like across the board, I think very, very close. And I think again, it just shows that I think you have a really great idea of obviously the circuit. We've driven here before together, so obviously that helps. So it shows that you've retained the information from the last time we visited here in terms of the way that you approach the circuit. I think typically the big thing is just like where you're losing pretty much a tenth all the time is as we know, when one corner kind of goes slightly wrong, obviously another corner can go slightly wrong. But as we always know as well, there's always just little things that kind of can translate to what's going on. So for example, when you look at 6, right, you can see that it's just now the opposite. Now the opposite is you are doing perfectly. You're peaking, you're holding, you're releasing. But the problem is that you actually haven't put in enough pressure. Almost in a way, you've got too little pressure. So obviously the problem that you run into with that there is that obviously then when you go to pick up the throttle, you can't get back to full throttle as quickly as you want to, right? Because obviously it's starting to understeer a little bit. So when you think about all these little things and you look at it from I guess a third person point of view in my sense, everything that's going wrong between you and me is just a timing thing. It's almost a case of either I'm going harder on the brakes, you're going softer on the brakes, or you're going harder on the brakes, or I'm going softer on the brakes, or I'm peaking and holding, and you're peaking and trailing, or I'm peaking and trailing, or you're peaking and holding. All the little things like that. That's where the lap time goes in this car, and that's where then, I guess coming into next season, rather than it more so for us, I think being very much a big structure kind of approach and a big structure kind of review for me and you, I think it's going to be more saying, okay, let's go through the circuit, let's look at brake markers, let's see, okay, what are you doing, what am I doing, and what we can slightly tinker. Because again, I don't feel like in my position I have to explain to you what structure is anymore. I think you very much understand all the different approaches, you know how to go about it, you know how to adjust when you need to. It's just about me telling you the right way to do it. That's pretty much, I think, the biggest thing that we got to just work on now. And again, you're going to be coming to a lot more bigger circuits, as we talked about last time. You're going to be going to a lot bigger circuits, a lot sort of broader circuits, a lot more popular circuits that drivers have driven on pretty much for 3 or 4 years realistically. Ever since they've got the simulator, they've been driving these tracks. So it's going to be learning a new circuit for you a lot of the time, maximizing a new circle all the time, and it's just going to be about us trying to within an hour get us up to speed as quickly in terms of knowing where markers are, knowing where the limits are, knowing where your positioning is, and just knowing, okay, well, is this corner peak in a hold, is this corner peak in a trail, and just giving you those answers so you can go away and do it. Because I think in all honesty, it's just realistically structural side of things is great. It's just, being able to say, okay, this is a pressure that you're looking for, this is a percentage that you look for, and that's really the biggest thing. So, I mean, other than really that chicane, was there really anywhere other than that you were struggling with more so than not in terms of cornering? Like, was there anywhere that you just couldn't really get right? Was it, the turn 7 to 8 section or 8 to 9 section where it was that kind of, that sort of a Ascari chicane at the back? Was that all okay for you, or how'd you typically feel with that?
Yeah, so I think like the one that we just reviewed is the hardest one. The first one, I think I'm doing all right. Like, and comparing our times, like they're very close. So I'm confident that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then the
Yep.
right-hander that you just showed, that's one that I feel like
Yep.
sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong.
Yep.
But it's more like,
Okay.
as you said, it's a matter of timing. So my braking
Yep.
marker is like right before the 50, and then I
Yeah.
go
Okay.
like, I won't say like hard, but like I go medium on the brakes just to get the car
Yep.
to rotate like enough, like I put that pressure to slow down, I start rotating the car, and I try to attack the inside curb, and that's when I
Right.
go like in the inside curb. But if I
Right. Okay.
go on the gas too early, I understeer. If I go on the gas too late, then I just lose like 15 seconds on the following straight. That's usually
Right.
like where
Okay.
I lose a lot of time. It might be like the gap
Yep.
that you're seeing at the point two. It might be
Yep.
me going like on the gas super late. And the last one is kind of tricky. I haven't found the braking marker yet as well, but I have had good like decent runs. It's just not consistent yet. What I feel
Okay.
there is I have to go around the first apex, feeling that I'm carrying like just enough speed to not go wide, right?
Yep.
Because if I
Yep.
over brake there, like if you over slow down, you just kill the entire like next section.
Right.
And
Yep.
if you go too fast, then it takes you too long to go on the throttle, and then you lose a
Yep.
lot of time as well. So there's like there's a sweet spot there that I'm trying to find, but it's been like less
Yeah.
of an
Okay.
issue than the previous one that we talked about.
Yeah. No, for sure. So again, look, I think from hearing that, I think again, it sounds like it probably more so than anything just comes down to to an approach point of view and a timing point of view. So again, just remembering with these cars that the earlier and the softer we can brake, the faster you go, right? The later and the harder you brake, or just the later you brake, generally more so in a sense, the slower you go, right? So when we look at somewhere like Turn 7, you can see, we're braking so much later than obviously I
Hmm.
am, and you're not braking too hard, but again, you're braking probably about 5 to 6% harder than I am, almost in a way, right? So I think the big thing is just again the timing. So again, here we're probably going somewhere between the 50 and 100, right? You're trying to brake basically in the middle. You're not wanting to go anywhere near the 50. You don't want to be basically crossing it and braking. You want to be basically a good 30-ish meters or 25, 30 meters away from the 50, and that's where you're probably going to be finding the most time. All that really allows you to do is it allows you to peak, trail, and power on basically by the time you get to the apex. Whereas in comparison, you're getting on the power basically just after the apex almost in a way. And then again, you can see you're losing 2/10 of a second in a straight line, unfortunately because of the exit coming out of there,
Yeah.
right? So we've just got to be reminded of the same, things that we're dealing with in the M2, and just the same ideologies that we're dealing with here mainly in iRacing, where it's, we got to brake as early as we can and as soft as we can, rather than braking as late as we can and as hard as we can, right? So that's a very simple fix for you right there. Just literally bring it back earlier and power on earlier, and just allow yourself to get all the way out to the exit, and you shouldn't really be running into any issues, obviously from that point then on. Um, then obviously coming down into Ascari, realistically, again, braking marker here is always quite hard because it's kind of like, well, where am I trying to look? Um, but typically, I like to always say, just as basically the top of the bridge passes the top of the windscreen, almost in a way. So as it passes the sun banner at the top of the windscreen, basically that's when I want to pretty much brake. So just as that point, I can't see the grey sky anymore, basically in a way, that's where I want to brake. So right about now, just as that kind of disappears, that's where I usually want to brake. So you're coming up, you can see it here. You're waiting for that to go, waiting for that to go, waiting for that to go, bang, brake, right? That's usually what I'm trying to look for. And then again, you're doing that all realistically, but it's fantastic. It's really, really good. I think it's obviously just again the case of you got to remember that you are coming slightly slower into the corner, so of course naturally that's going to affect the momentum just a little bit. And then obviously just the whole kind of approach throughout the corner, and just making sure that you're not over driving it, and making sure you're not under driving it at all. So did you find yourself using this curb as much as maybe I am? Are you getting right up over this as much as I am, or are you trying to maybe run the edge of it potentially a little bit more?
I think so. I'm looking at my replay here, so I'm just take a look.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, you can put a lot of the
yeah,
car, like pretty much half the car over like that.
my my
And
left my
yeah.
left tires are right, like touching the black part of the sausage. That's how much I'm going in. Yeah,
Right,
like
so
I'm
it's
going.
probably to
Yeah,
about maybe here. Okay, yeah, so you can probably use a fair bit more, and that's probably answering the reason as to why probably you have to hesitate a lot more back on throttle there, because it probably doesn't really your angles, mate. Yeah, you can you can see right there. Look how you're a little bit wider, right?
yeah,
So that wider angle there is making you crack the throttle more than I am, whereas by me using more curb, it puts me on a bit of a better angle, and then I can keep it pretty much nearly thereabouts full on. I can then be on a bit of a better angle actually coming out of here, coming into the right, and then obviously I'm nice in position coming into the left. Otherwise, when you're all out kind of out of sorts there, it really puts you in a bit of a yeah, an awkward situation almost in a way. So yeah, you can really, like I said, you can really use the curbing in these cars, in any of the GT4 cars or even in the GT3 cars. You can really aggressively take that inside curb. So just turn in a lot earlier than what you think, to be honest with you, because yeah, it's not going to react strangely. It's not going to react weirdly. So just make sure that yeah, you're attacking it, ultimately as aggressively as you can, and that should hopefully help you out. Typically quite nicely in what you're looking for there. So yeah, nothing wrong structurally wise there. That was actually all really good. That one there was again just a bit of positioning and a bit of timing wise. And then really coming into the final corner, it's quite a simple braking zone, this one, in terms of where you're looking for. It's basically just yeah, right at the beginning of where the well, just before, realistically, just the beginning of where
mm,
the green starts. That's where you want to be on the brake. So probably at about the 130 board, almost in a way, 130-ish mark. It's always strange because I always look at it when you're coming in, like my marker is always aiming for the start of the green, but it's almost a case of like I'm not starting the braking at the start of the green. I'm almost at peak pressure by the start of the green. So you can see I'm basically at the peak already
yeah,
by here, basically, in a way. So yeah, just kind of say to yourself, okay, well, like, let me make sure that in any case I'm at my peak pressure by the time I get to the start of the green or the white line on the road there. And if I can always say to myself, well, okay, I'm getting there pretty much, every single time, then you shouldn't really be running into any issues, hopefully, in that manner, and it should be all pretty decent for you, almost, in a way. So yeah, obviously in that sense there, then I think, realistically, other than that, that we were pretty close to each other in that section, to be honest with you. We didn't really do anything, didn't do anything really incorrectly in comparison to each other. We did all the same things, really. It's just, yeah, we ended up, look, yeah, 1,000th of a second off of each other. It's just, obviously, you can see our lines definitely ended up a little bit different to one another. You had a little bit more of a tighter exit and then a wider line out to the straight, whereas I definitely had a more of a kind of wider entry, a tighter apex, and then a lot wider of an exit coming out. And then yeah, obviously put me in position, then bring it back to the line and finish off the lap. So yeah, no, look, honestly, Alan, I think as a starting point, I think I'm really happy. Of course, like I said, a circuit we've been to, one that we know already quite well when you've done some laps on already, so it definitely helped us out in that manner. I think you see the biggest thing that I guess will be our focus when we do return and start working on this car properly. It's generally going to be a case of just trying to say, okay, well, where are you finding more time? What are you doing in terms of a driving perspective off the rip in comparison to me, that's typically just maybe not allowing you to feel what I'm feeling, or I guess just maybe not allowing you to do what I'm doing, or what are just little differences that you're doing in terms of braking markers, in terms of braking zones, all the things like that that are off. That's what we can typically work on, and then just, yeah, as well, appreciate the little areas, like for example turn one here, where you were slightly faster and you did try something else. Okay, yeah, absolutely, it works very well. And you did typically go faster, but again, as we know, what and how is that going to be potentially affected when we do go into different conditions, when potentially, yeah, it does get hotter, or the wind is maybe stronger, or anything like that? Will 80% work, or will it start to cause issues for you, like you will get into the ABS when it gets warmer? Will it sort of force you to start missing corners? Will it force you to start scrubbing the fronts because you feel like you're hesitating when you come into a corner? You got to think about all those little sort of things. So those are really going to be big, I guess, approach points, I think, for us coming into the next season. But yeah, I mean, look, from your end, Al, is there any big kind of questions that you had with the car in general? I guess just in that sort of manner that you were feeling that you kind of had in your mind, or just any general questions about anything, or does that kind of give you a good bit of an idea of, I guess, what's to come? And I suppose in terms of just Monza as well, what maybe you can slightly work on and I guess be a little bit more confident about in comparison to, yeah, everything that up until this point about, I guess, the M2 almost, in a way.
Yeah, no, I don't think like any big questions. I think the one that I had was the warming up the tires. We discussed it.
Sure.
I think like for this
Yeah.
car, what I'll do like today, I'll probably go a few more laps around Monza, just like to get
Yeah.
more used to it, and then I'll be
Yeah.
out for 3 weeks. And then when I come back,
Yeah.
instead of like going straight to the next race, I might like take a week to, um, even
Practice
because I
a
won't
little
have
bit.
like practice on the track. So just like to warm up the car again and try to
Yeah.
post fast laps in the following week and have like the coaching session, and then we start from
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm feeling good. Like I was thinking about
Yeah.
what happened in Navarra, and I think it was
Yeah.
also like a blessing disguised as a curse, because
Yeah.
as I'm growing, as I'm improving, it's easy to get like
Yeah.
overconfident and think that
Sure.
the path is actually shorter than actually
Yeah.
is. So like having
Yeah.
some setbacks and like
Yeah.
being grounded again and like, okay, this is a long journey. Like don't think this like I'm not Max Verstappen. This is not gonna be like, not even
Yeah.
for him was a short journey. So
No,
I'm not
absolutely.
him, so it won't be
Yeah.
like a short journey for me. So like I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see that we are already within like a 1% here, and that a lot of the
Yeah.
things that I've learned are transferring. We're seeing like the
Yeah.
results here. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
I'm super happy.
Yeah, no, that's good. And yeah, I mean, it's yeah crazy to think 12 weeks have gone by, and I mean, yeah, to again, like I said to you yesterday, to see where we started it realistically, and again, we did 6 realistically together, and and then we went and did something like this, to see how we've progressed, over such a short period of time, almost in a way, and how we've grown and how we've developed. I think it just is yeah amazing to see how you've developed. And I think how do you feel from a driving perspective? Because again, I mean, realistically, you went to almost being at the beginning of the season really, below nearly a 2000 or just over a 2000 rating driver, and now you're sitting at kind of 3.5. And I think now you're seeing every week you can go, you can feel competitive. Obviously there's guys that, like you say, that are in the 4Ks, are in the 5Ks, that are obviously going to be quicker. And I think at the end of the day, even for me, with even the level I'm at, man, I mean, I sent you that guy, yesterday that's 11,000 I did the race with, I can't do anything about that, no matter how good I am, I can jump in and go, but you just, no matter what you do, you're never going to beat the guys like that are so consistently driving that car and just have their eye in so locked into how to drive that car to the absolute edge. So even for me, it's about staying grounded in those moments and saying, you know what, look, I absolutely respect it. Like you're hustling the car better than I can, which is, completely amazing to see, because I think it's super to see how people can execute stuff like that. But again, when you're so consistently on the grind of driving one car, all the time, every day, and that's your sole focus, you can really do a lot with it. But again, in terms of obviously an enjoying and a growing phase and learning a lot more, obviously, there's only so far you can go with it. But, I think even for you as well, I think it's just about saying, you know what, look, at the end of the day, I'm getting close to these guys' level, and I've only been probably doing this properly for what, maybe 4 or 5 months now, realistically, whereas a lot of these guys have probably been racing for a good few years already. And again, the M2's been out for quite a long time as well, so it's not saying that it's a new car at all, but it's something that a lot of people have learned how to drive and get used to. So yeah, I mean, I think you're in a really good spot. I think you've done really, really well. And I think, again, to see that you've hopped in, same conditions, everything like that, you're only a second away. It's basically exactly nearly where we're at with the M2, and we're in a completely different car. It's good to see that all the structural, POVs of everything is transferred over. And I think, yeah, it's really, really good. So, yeah, no, look, I think enjoy the rest of the M2, and yeah, have some fun with it. I mean, look, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, I think even with the new car, it would definitely be something that maybe we'll have to look at one time, just looking at the new M2, because I'd be very interested to
Oh yeah.
see. Oh, well, I'm gonna be interested to see how it drives, because I feel like it's probably gonna be more to what we're driving now in terms of the GT4, that you're probably going to feel more in the new M2. Because I know that so many people over the years have been complaining with the style that we've had to grow with the M2 in terms of the rear being a little bit more snappy. It's definitely something that a lot of people have complained about. So I definitely know that it'll be something that won't be in this new car. So like I said, it's probably going to feel more like you're driving a bit of a GR, or you're driving this car probably a little bit more than what it felt like driving this M2, which is good, because I think it's going to help you just to adapt to that car very easily as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it kind of feels. So Yeah, man. Look, all really good. So yeah, we'll retouch base when you're home. So you just let me know when you're back in business. I'm off anyway until starting next Wednesday until the 15th of June anyway. So
Okay.
it'll probably kind of be nearly there or thereabouts when you start to return. So you just you let me know what dates. Obviously you'll be back and we can get back into it when you return. And then yeah, I'll send you the calendar for the new season when it comes out. It usually comes out about the 10th of 11th of June, in the middle of week 13. So I'll send that over to you when that becomes available, and then yeah, we'll plan for then, and we'll get started on the new journey and see how we go. I think, in my opinion, I don't think the big drop in rating is probably going to happen like maybe you think so, because honestly, I think to be about a second off in this car at a starting rate, I think honestly that's quite decent. I mean, the time differential in GT4 is, I think, the one big thing that you'll notice in the racing. It's going to be a lot bigger than what you found with the M2. Like, you'll find that the pace differential between P1 and P15 is probably 2.5 seconds almost, in a way, right? So, it's going to be a lot bigger of a field spread almost, in a way. So you're probably going to feel a second off in the GT4 is only probably going to put you probably maybe P5 or P6. So, it's
Hmm.
probably pretty decent as a starting point, realistically. And again, because the field spread is so big and because the fields are bigger, for you gaining rating for being P1, P2, P3 in a bigger field, you're going to be able to gain rating for becoming P4, P5, P6, P7, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously there's more cars, there's a bigger field. Even though the soft might be low, it gives you a bit more positions that you can play around with in terms of gaining rating. So it's not going to mean that you have to jump in and finish P5 or P3 or P1 to gain rating. You can finish P4, P5, P6, and you're probably still going to gain. It might be very low, right? It might be only a couple, but it's something, it's something. And just as you're learning as well, it'll still say, well, I'm in the green, I'm not losing for doing this. I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm still gaining. So that's all that really matters. So yeah, man, look, any final comments, anything to add, or all pretty good, all pretty good on your end there?
No, I think it's pretty good. Like I'm expecting the SOFs to be a little bit stronger than the average on
Yeah,
them
sure.
twos, and I'm
Yep.
getting ready for the worst because if I go there
Mhm.
and I consistently get to the podium, fine, amazing, I'll be super happy. But it would
Mhm.
kill me like to feel like I'm so close to the 4K, and then I see it drop like all the way back to 2K. Like, geez, what happened to me?
Yeah.
So I think it's like the
Yeah.
mentality,
No,
like the
for sure.
humbling part of Navarra, kicking in as well,
Yep.
and saying like, hey, just assume you're gonna screw up before you get good, and if something else
Yep.
happens, like we will take it. We'll take the wins.
Yep. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Well, look, I think, again, like I said, to be already that close and see, okay, well, realistically, the differences aren't you're doing anything wrong. The differences are just we need to change the approach. That's again why we're doing what we're doing, right? That's why we're here doing lessons together, so we can learn those things. But again, I feel like confidently now, I think both you and I can say that structurally wise, it's not a conversation I need to have with you anymore. You've understand it. You know how to change it. You know how to differentiate it between circuit and obviously the car. Obviously, clearly with this example, it's just definitely a case of saying, okay, well, what corner requires this or what corners requires that, and that's probably what our focus needs to more so be. Coming into the next journey together. So, yeah, look, been a pleasure. It's very happy for me to see that you've gained everything up until this point, and I guess you've taken a really positive approach towards everything too. And it's been very much a pleasure to help you get to this point. I mean, it's always a proud moment for me to see that, yeah, what I do can help someone grow so much, and I guess really bring their enjoyment from the simulator into another level, and make them feel like they've gone from not really knowing anything almost, in a way, to feeling like they're competing and winning races and doing really well. And even in cases like this, jump to a new car without really any prior knowledge to it, and feel like you're doing quite decent. So yeah, it's always a privilege and a pleasure for me to help you out, man. And yeah, looking forward to the next stage, because yeah, usually from here, this is where it gets quite enjoyable, because these cars, for me, and the circuits we visit as well, definitely make the driving a lot more fun. And I think it makes the weeks a little bit more enticing to kind of go into a race rather than having to try and, yeah, bust your balls around somewhere like Navarra, for example, and feel like you get frustrated. So yeah, you'll be dealing with some cool tracks, which is going to be fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. So no, have a good little trip, have a nice little holiday, and yeah, I'll see you back for yeah, whenever it
In
may
a
be,
few
you
weeks,
just let me
yeah.
know, and we'll go from there, man. So no, looking forward to it all, and like I said once again, thanks so much for everything, and looking forward to it all.
Perfect, man. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Alrighty, bro. You're very welcome. Take it easy. Have a good trip, and yeah, I'll speak to you. I'll speak to you very soon.
Talk to you soon, man. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, bro. Take it easy, man. See you, bro. Bye, bye.
All right. So good, good. Let me put like the voice chat here, or the text to speech thing. Now I can hear you guys. Hey, Cortese. I think it was a good lesson, to be honest. So first things first. This might be the most important thing that we're going to talk about today, which is we have a, where is it? Come on, come on. No? There you go. We have a new car paint for this car. So I was talking to my wife, having some ideas today, and I decided to lock this one. You guys let me know what you think. So I have like the YouTube channel right here. Then if you go to the sides are going to look the same. And this is how the side looks like. What do you think? I think it looks great, right? Maybe let's do this. Yeah, there you go. So I don't know what this is, a lion or whatever this is, but I thought it was so cool, like the curves and everything. And I thought having the YouTube channel right here at the bottom and this lion here, that was actually my wife's feedback. So I think it looks super cool. And the other thing is the front. I had something going on here, but I decided clean looked better. YouTube channel. And if you go to the top of the car, you're gonna see, here's fine. No, not here. If you go to the top of the car, that's my dog. I decided to put like a, I might change this to blue at some point, but I think yellow is okay. I think gives like good contrast, but that's my dog. So let's bring this back to the back of the car because we might need this camera. And then go further down. This is how I like seeing the rear view. Yeah, I think this is fine. Let's go to the track. A few more laps. I did release a short video today. And let me see one thing here. So I did release a short video today talking about the changes, the new updates on... Oh, I didn't feel like them. Let me see if my ABS thing is working. But the updates for next season, they released today in their blog. I thought about doing like a long video, but there are so many of those that I was just like, you know what? I'll do a short. It's funny how long it takes to create a short. Like any type of video, it's just like, it just takes so long. You see like the thing I was talking about over slowing down? But yeah, make sure to take a look at that. Or if you have any questions, I can answer them here as well. But I'm excited with the things that we have coming up. This is my problem on this corner. Whenever I go too early, that's what happens. I forgot to tell him that. The previous corner is like me going wide. This one is oversteering. But they're finally gonna have like the track map. So they're bringing the track map, which I think is a huge win. Good. So
Kev said, I am sad about the current M2 going away. That's my main car.
Maybe it's time for you to join me in this new step of our journey. But I'm curious to see like what the new one is gonna look like. Maybe it's for the better. You know, maybe it's a more enjoyable car. I feel the M2 is definitely a car that's like, it's very rewarding in the sense that once you get it right and you start getting like very fast at it, it just feels so good because it's a tough car to handle. But
Jinalutsu said, can get 13k from the new one.
You've got to slow down and give up that time.
I'm very curious to see. I'm very curious to see. Because I feel like if the car gets like the GR, I feel like the GR is so easy to drive. I don't know if you guys think the same, but I feel it's kind of an easy car. So if it's an easy car, like anybody can drive it. The M2 is just like rewarding. I hope it doesn't lose that. I hope it's still like a bathtub, maybe just like a different type of bathtub. I've complained a lot. I've complained my fair share about it, but now that it's going away, I regret ever complaining about it.
Jinalutsu said, I feel like the M2 is very hard as a rookie car at the moment.
I agree. I agree. But then, like, keep the car and bring the GR as the other like option to the MX-5.
Kev said, yeah, maybe I am not thinking from a beginner view.
Yeah, like this is most likely an economic decision. Like they thought about the money and what most people are talking, not like the hard fans.
Jinalutsu said, have many clients say they find the GR easier as a beginner car, which makes sense.
And I would agree with that.
Said, the new one has better handling on paper.
Like, I don't know why people are coming with that conclusion. So I went through the update, and I don't know like why people are thinking that. I think people are hoping for that, but like, I don't know. Too fast, too fast, too fast. Too fast. But I do think like the should be like the MX-5 and the GR, and maybe leave the M2 as the, you know, like the advanced. They do have like the power challenge, which is kind of not rookie. Maybe they should just keep the power challenge, like an M2 and a power challenge, or like a the production car that has the multi-class. Oh, I missed here.
Kev said, the engine is much smaller and lighter.
Where did you see that though? Because I didn't see it. Yeah. Stay. Let's get an active reset. We have like
That was your fastest lap of the session.
this entire temp now. But I'm excited. I think like these changes, maybe like if you like them too, you're gonna like it even more. Like you see how much I'm slowing down here because I'm going too hard on the brakes. Because I'm trying to go a little bit earlier and less on the brakes, but I'm not doing the second part. I'm still going very hard, maybe like 80%. They're also changing the balance
Jensen
of performance.
Said, you think softs will improve?
On them too? Nope.
Jensen Bade said, yeah. Kev said, at first for sure.
Yeah, I think like the strong drivers are all gonna give it a try, for sure, right? People who want to maybe like save some money. Did I break at the right point? No, it's too early. So, or maybe I turned in too late here. But I think a lot of strong people are gonna come back and test it. But I do think if it's easier for the rookies, what might happen is you have like lower or more splits. Yeah, maybe like, I don't know, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just yapping at this point. No, go wide early and turning late. So, I don't know. I wish they were stronger already. Like, every time we get into those 3 point something races, that's not just like one outlier. It's multiple like people above like 2.5k. Like this is what I was doing before. Like very hard. No, turning too late. It always takes me a couple laps to... And I'm yapping here non-stop as well, so... Doesn't help. Doesn't help. You see like how long it takes me to get on the gas here? Maybe I have to slow down even further. Yeah, like I have to go on the brakes either harder or slightly earlier.
Kev said, the production endurance races are the high soft races for M2S.
Yeah, like maybe they should keep like, you know how they have the GT4, the Falcon Challenge, which is like the fixed, and then they have the multi-class one that I forgot the name. Woo! I don't think that's what Jenny meant when he told me to take more curb. So I think they should do the same. They should really do the same. Was a decent corner, not good, but decent. Better exit for sure, but let's see if we can get a good one here. Nope. Off track. I tried to save it. Maybe that's the breaking point, like maybe a little, like a few meters before.
Just set your fastest lap of the session.
Yeah, it didn't count though, because I got an off track. Nope. Over slow down. Too late. I went too late on the brakes. I got distracted for a second. I was thinking about the MX-5, like if they should have an update on the MX-5 as well. I don't know when was the last time they had one. But like that's a fan favorite as well. Nobody wants that updated. So that might be their perspective. Yeah, there's an off track there. And also Jenny comes like very close to the left side here. I usually open up like earlier. Not gonna say anything, but that was a pretty like decent exit there. You guys don't have to clap. It's okay. It's okay. No clapping. No clapping, please. I could have used much more track on the outside here. Like a lot more track. No, that's garbage, so let's go again.
We expect these conditions to continue.
Nope. I was trying to fix my... Today I finally remembered to fix my footrest and I realized I didn't have what I need, so I'll have to buy it tomorrow. Do you guys think we should race one more at Tsukuba today, or just finish like the day with the GT4? Yesterday people were giving me a hard time because I said GT4 and I was racing them M2 towards the end. Yeah, some of you guys, you are here, you know who you are. Yeah, like I barely touched the... Let's try it again. I barely touched the dirt and slowed down the car, otherwise it would have been good. My braking marker here is right before these planes here on the left side. But then like I need to cut in more the first one to have a better angle on the second one. After 200 right here, let's go. Like this, yeah. Stay. Not bad. Oof. Yeah, I do think I lost a lot of time. Maybe I'm braking too hard on the entry. All I have to do is not screw up the last corner, which is very hard not to do. Missed the apex by a lot. Now let's commit to the gas. It's gonna be a faster lap.
That was your fastest lap of the session.
These are our fastest ever, like faster than we had it before. So yeah, good. Too early. If you go too early on the gas, gotta be patient there on the second leg. Knock knock, anybody there? You guys haven't decided. More laps here, or we go to Tsukuba to destroy our iRating. Nope. I feel like we can do like very good one now. No bueno, no bueno, no bueno. But I feel we can still save this, so.
Jensen Babe said, "Stake to GT4."
Alright. I might do like, you know what? Let me try one more fast lap here. And I'll do like an AI racing. I'll race the bots. And then we finish the day with a race with the GT4. Nobody saw this, so like this doesn't count as the last one. So let's try last one more time. I'm proud of myself. Oof, that was garbage. Good. Let's take the shortest path here, which is this one. No. Good corner, right? That was pretty good, pretty good. All right, we improved a bit already. I feel like we can race the bots. Let's race the bots in Monza. I'll quit, it's fine.
Wild Slothman said, "Hey, just getting in, forgot I'm on Central
No.
Time now, lol."
Hello, sir, hello. It's gonna be earlier for you, so no more excuses. Of like, I have a life. How do I get, like, how do I start my own? I don't want to create a single race. So, are you in your internship already? Like, has it started? No, 30 laps is too much. 15 minutes is fine. So that's going to be about 7 laps. It's fine. Oh. No, back. So, your car. This is going to be the GT4. So we're going to select this one.
Wild Slothman said, Starts Monday, moved into place 2 days ago.
Nice, nice. It's Houston, right? GP. Rolling start.
Wild Slothman said, Dallas.
Dallas, Dallas, Dallas. I'll just keep this forecast. Like, is it raining? No, right? Now, is that 12-week one, or like is it gonna be shorter? All right, that's just static. Track conditions 50%. Let's put 50%. And yeah, GT4. Let's have like realistic, like 28 maybe cars. 27, 28 with me. And
Wild Slothman said,
100.
10 week. Are you planning on GT4S starting next week?
No, so like what's gonna happen is I'm gonna put like a tighter thing here. I want to I'll start from the middle. 15. I'm traveling. I'm traveling next week for work. So I'll be in California for a week. Then I come back and I travel to Brazil for 2 weeks. So we're not gonna race next week. We're not racing week 13. We're not racing week 1. And then I'll be back on week 2. And then on week 2, I'm just gonna probably like have some streams with you guys, get reused to the car, test the M2, see what's going on with life, and practice for the following week. We don't have the schedule yet. Hopefully good tracks. And that's how I'm planning to approach the next upcoming few weeks. But GT4 starting next season. Grid, that's grid.
One to go. Next time by. Line up on the right side. Pit
It's a
road
rolling
is closed
start.
right now. Everyone's gridded.
So all these gentlemen are all bots. So, see? All bots. Oops. Can you take traction control off? No. Oh, I can.
Jets up, 25 up.
I cannot forget to turn on the TC.
Get ready, going green.
Okay, turn on.
Post car is off.
Good start.
Green flag, green flag.
All right. Carnage or no carnage?
Car on your left, clear on the left. You're on the right, 3 wide. Car on your left, 2 wide. Keep to the right. Still there. Still there, hold your line. Clear on the left.
I think we gained some positions there, right?
Car right.
This guy is just braking
Still there,
so
hold
early.
your line. Clear.
I think we're up to P11 right now. No bueno, no bueno, no bueno, no bueno, no bueno, no bueno.
Slow down. You got a penalty for cutting the cord.
Ay, ay.
No damage. Car looks clean.
Alright. Was a good race. Should have been slightly more patient there. Seth is trying an approach on...
Car on your left.
These
Still there,
guys are
hold your
so
line. Clear
slow.
on the left. We got damage on the front end.
No, yeah.
Left side.
Alright, buddy, stay there.
Stay on the right.
You stay there as well.
Keep to the right. Clear.
These bots just break so early. So early. Here's where we met our end last time around. So, almost twice. We gained 2 positions in a full lap. That's not good. Let's pick up the pace here. I can actually commit to the throttle like once I'm there. Let's see. At least this time, I'll be so far behind that I'll catch up to them on the first corner.
Right side. Still there, hold your line.
Stay there, buddy. Stay there.
Still there, hold your line. Keep to the left.
Alright.
Stay on the left. Clear on the right. You cut that corner.
No, I did
Slow
not.
down
I did not.
penalty.
I
10
did
minutes
not.
to go.
Shut up. Where I'm gonna pay this penalty, buddy? Okay, worked. Car behind is closing the gap though, but they brake super late, so or super early, so I'll just ignore them. All right, all right. Slipstream. Or braking checking me?
Left
Oops.
side. Keep to the right.
You are gone.
Stay on the right.
You're also gone.
Clear.
We're climbing.
Car on your left. Still there, hold your line. That was your fastest lap of the session. Clear.
On the brakes super early.
Right side. Clear on the right.
Man. I wish we had like the percentage of their intelligence somewhere. He's gonna go on the brake super early.
Right
We are
side.
not.
Clear on the right.
I got 2 off tracks, can you believe it? I avoided crashing into them. I didn't know like how early they would brake, so
Car on your left. You're pulling away from the car behind. The gap is 1.6 seconds. Keep to the right. Keep to the right.
yeah, buddy. If my spotter is saying car to the left, your spotter is saying car to the right, so stay there.
New fastest lap for you. You're in the top 20. Still there, hold your line.
You're joking if you think you're gonna outbrake me on this one here.
Clear on the left. Car on your left.
That's gonna be an off
Stay
track.
on the right. Keep to the right.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Keep to the right. Clear on the left.
I don't think I need to lift as much on that one, to be honest. Oops, I was looking somewhere else.
You're pulling away from the car behind. The gap is 2 seconds. Right side. Still there, hold your line. Clear on the right. Left side, 5 minutes to go. Keep to the right. Clear on the left. You just hit the fastest lap.
I have the fastest lap of the race. And I know I can brake later than these two guys here in the next corner. So let's prep for that.
Right side. You cut the course, you've got to slow down and give up that time. Clear on the right.
Alright, so I do have to do something differently. Because these two guys are slowing me down. We maybe have 2 more laps to go, so... Can we finish P10? That's kind of the question.
Car right. Clear on the right. Right side.
That's enough track for sure.
Cut the course. You'll have to slow down.
Ah, come on,
Clear.
AI. You guys are so dumb.
You've lost the rear wing. Major oversteer likely due to lost downforce. Left side, you've got damage in various places. That aero damage is probably slowing you.
And no meatball,
Clear
so
on the
let's...
left. The car in P1 just set the fastest lap. 57.433. Clear on the left. That aero damage is probably slowing you a lot. Your car is leaking fluid.
It's a shame. So... yeah, let's restart it. One more race. Without the spins and the
1 lap
crashes.
to green. Line up on the right side. Pit road is closed right now.
I think we
Everyone
could have had like a good race if it wasn't for the first spin. The cars at the back are so slow. They brake super early, like hopefully the car ahead of us are not gonna brake so early. Let's see, one more. Oops.
Catch up, 25 car.
I'm trying to use the traction control off.
Catch up, 25 car.
We got all the way up to 178, so can I do it again?
About to go green, stay focused.
Alright, alright, alright.
The pace car is off, be ready. Green, green, green.
Traction control is on. We know they're gonna go on the brakes super early, so we are gonna go for the dive.
Car on your left. Still there. You're on the right. 3 wide. Left side, 2 wide. Still there. Hold your line. Still there. Stay on the right. Clear.
Remember, they're gonna go hard on the brakes here.
Car on your left. Stay on the right. Clear on the left.
Kind of focusing on better exits than sticking to our braking marker here. I just reacted to this one because it was slightly earlier than I thought. Was earlier than I thought.
Car on your left. Clear.
Goodbye, Aston Martin.
Right side. Clear. Car on your left. Clear.
Oopsie. I think we might be like up to P7. We start P15.
You're in the top 10.
Yeah, P7. Ooh! That was on me.
Car right. Clear. Car right. Clear on the right. Car right. Clear.
Can you believe it? Too aggressive.
Right side. Clear on the right. Left side. Still there, hold your line. Clear. Right side.
That's gonna be an off track.
Course.
Yeah.
Gotta slow down and give up that time. Clear.
It's gonna take me a while. Ah. P18. No, but you're not gonna dive.
Left side. Still there, hold your line. Clear on the left. Right side.
Again, same place.
Clear.
These guys, they just don't... Not guys. These bots don't go on the gas. They just like... park. I don't think you deserve to be the number one, buddy.
Right side. Clear on the right. You cut that corner and got a slow down penalty.
Paid off.
We got damage on the front end. You've got damage on the right side. 10 minutes to go.
And of course, like I'm going like crazy because those are bots. And because we can just reset the race if we want to. We're not gonna do it again. We're gonna finish this one.
Car right.
I'm left, man. I'm left.
Still
I'm on
there,
the
hold
left.
your line.
Stay there.
Still there. Clear. Car right. The car in P1 just set the fastest lap. 57.296. Clear on the right. Car on your left.
Good luck.
Still there. Clear.
We're up to P14. Bit more than half a race. Now we stay tight to the left, the shortest path
Pulling away from
possible.
the car behind. The gap is 1.4 seconds.
We're gonna catch up to these guys in the middle of the thing. No, we didn't. Good.
You've got the fastest lap.
6.8.
Left side. Clear on the left.
I was crazy going to first gear there. Not smart. We can get 2 more positions before the next lap, or like right at the first corner. Let's do it, let's do it.
Car on your left. Clear on the left.
I
Car right.
did miss my braking marker.
Keep to the left. Still there. 5 minutes to go. Stay on the left. Still there, hold your line. Clear on the right.
He came in too early.
Left side. Clear.
P11 right now. Maybe 2 or 3 more laps, so... We are 2.5 behind that car. Let's see next lap here. How far behind we'll be.
You're pulling away from the car behind. The gap is 1.7 seconds.
It's an off track, but it's okay. So it's an off track, but I already took like 0.7, 0.6. I'll take it.
The leader just did a 56.90.
Loser. We have 6.8. Ah. We can do better though.
Right side. Clear on the right. Right side. Still there, hold your line. Clear on the right.
We're top 10. Just realized we're top 10.
Car on your left. Clear. White flag. Stay smooth.
One more.
You're in the top 10.
We're P9. I tried to copy them and it didn't work, so. Let's overtake this buddy here.
Esdras Chavez said,
Hey Esdras.
hello.
Hello. You're watching me versus Skynet.
Esdras
Keep to
Chavez
the left.
said,
Clear on the
what
right.
series is this?
This is AI racing.
Esdras Chavez said, oh, I see.
Yeah, because I did some hot laps here. That's the track that we reviewed with Gianni. I asked people if they wanted to see like an M2 race or more of this. They said more of this, so I decided to have a race here. Finish P8 maybe.
All right. There's checkered flag.
Good, good.
Great job. You did really well.
I did really well.
Esdras Chavez said, so is the Porsche your GT4 for next season?
Yes, yes, yes. I'll drive the Porsche next season.
You've got wheel damage.
No, I
One of
did
your
not.
wheels is out of alignment.
It's
You'll have
not.
left
It's
grip out
okay.
there. We got damage on the front end. That aero damage is probably slowing you a lot. front wheel damage.
Now I can barely
Wheel
drive.
goes out of alignment.
Yeah, like I decided to lock this one. I've heard
Your rear
multiple
wing is
people
damaged.
saying
Might have lost some downforce. Watch for oversteer.
this is kind
You
of
cut that corner and got a slow down penalty.
the good GT4 to start with, just because like it's the trickiest one, I think, from what I've heard. So it teaches you more, you know. Not that the other one are easy, like it's just maybe this has the best combination of being tricky, I guess. So let's see how many. By 1, by 2, 3. This was nice. Like this was actually pretty cool. Pretty proud of this one. 1, 2. But it didn't end any of the races, unfortunately. So yeah, I decided to come to this AI session because of that. Finish 8. Yeah, we could have won. I had a silly spin that took me from like P7, I think, in the second lap, all the way back.
Syndic TE said, just got out of D class and my second week of playing. Can you suggest good series to race at?
Man, that's probably the hardest question to ask anyone, because it depends a lot. It depends on your goal. My opinion, it depends on your goal. If you just want to race the most competitive people, you just got out of D class, so you just went to C class. C class, you can start racing GT4 or GT3s. If you're in C class, you have like the Ferrari, I think this is a GT3. You have this one is an endurance race though, so they don't have like every single day. Let me see. Porsche Cup, very famous one. A lot of people race this one. Most pros love this one. They updated the car last season or this season. Another Porsche Cup, so this is fixed setup, this is open setup. I'm pretty sure there's yeah, maybe I'm wrong. In the Porsche Sports Cup. So Porsche Cup is likely the one that a lot of people, a lot of pros race. You'll probably have the most competitive SOFs here, maybe in the Open Series. Let me see. Yeah, not really.
Syndic TE said, Ferrari challenge at Le Mans next week should be good. No.
Probably, yeah. Le Mans is a very long track. This is like a 4-minute track. So
Syndic TE said, I'm choosing between Ferrari or Porsche Cup.
it's tough, man. I have raced a Ferrari, not a challenge, but I've raced a Ferrari. I've never raced a Porsche Cup. I think, let me see which one. Let's see Class B. I think if you buy the Ferrari, is it the same Ferrari as the GT3 or is it a different one? Do you know? Let's see here. If there are two different cars, I'll go for the Porsche. Ferrari. I thought I had a Ferrari though. I do think I have one of the Ferrari. I thought I had this Ferrari. Did they change anything? Did I lose it? Yeah, like this.
Esdras Chavez said, it's different, I think.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. I know, like, maybe it's not showing because I already have it. So if they are different, I would race the Porsche Cup. But really, like, it's taking, like, if you want to race a lot of cars, then go for it. If you want to improve and get better, I would honestly, they're coming for a new M2. Maybe like stick to the M2 for a season. If you are like C class now, you can have even in D
Esdras
class.
Chavez
You can have like production
Said.
challenge and stuff.
There's also the GT4.
Yeah, like the GT4 is the car I'm gonna be racing next season. But this is like a oh yeah, it's a C class, right? Yeah, it's a C class. Yeah, maybe go the GT4. I think that's probably like the because you have this one that's fixed setup, just GT4, and you have the Falcon Sports Car Challenge. This is a multi-class, so you have the prototypes, and you have whatever GT4 car you choose to race, and it's open setup. So usually you race one of these. These are every 2 hours. It's a 20-minute race. And then you have one of these every 2 hours. It's a 30-minute race. So what I usually do, you race one of these, and then one of these, and then back to these, then to these. So maybe GT4. Maybe GT4. But if you're 2 weeks in, man, there's so much to explore in the D class. Like I'll do, if you don't do rookies anymore, do some GR Cup. It's a nice car. Production challenge. This like multi-class as well. Like you're gonna race them. Choose with him. Choose MX5, GR86 with the GR86, and then I've never seen a Clio in those. Like I don't think anybody races Clios. Let me see. Yeah, you see, like there's never enough Clio cars here, but so many things to race. Really depends on what you want. I would recommend sticking with these cars.
Said, if driving GT3 harder than GT4.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say yes. You have to think that most of the GT, let's see this one here. I don't know where these guys are racing this week. Maybe they're racing IMSA. Like GT3 is the most, like where most of the competitive people actually race. If you think about it. So it's the fastest car of all of those. And then you have the hypercars and stuff like the GTP cars. I don't think I'm doing a good job like explaining, but a lot of people are gonna end up here with the GT3s and prototypes. A lot of the special events are also GT3, or maybe like the I think they're trying to have more GT4s as well. Yeah, here I have like the GTP, the Laras one, and the GT3s. Anyways, I don't think I did a good job answering your question. I like the GT4s a lot. That's the car I'm going to race until like I get very good at it. So I'll graduate to the GT3. If you just want to race cool cars, now go to the Porsche Cup and then migrate to the GT3. I think that's... Yeah. But like you see, like there's the GT3 in the rain. That's one of the things you can do. So many challenges. This car is a beast. Like this car is very hard to drive. Anyways, I hope I helped with something. I don't think I did, but I tried. I really tried. So my apologies if I failed. Let me just see here how fast of a lap I can put with the MX5. Not gonna race. Just hot laps. Every now and then I like coming back to the MX5. I don't like racing without socks though, because I don't like getting my stuff all sweaty. Okay, we're gonna join practice and then we're gonna withdraw. But yeah, I think the question is, what do you want? Like, what's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? That's gonna help have a significantly better answer for you. So we withdrew, which means we're not gonna race. Let's see what we can do here. What lap times they have. The wheel feels so soft. Question for you guys, do you think the overlays are too small? I had someone like on the commenting one of the streams like after watching on demand saying like, oh, everything's so small. Jesus, what's going on? What force feedback I have here? None. That used to be my force feedback for this car.
Car stopped on the right. Car stopped on the
Maybe
right.
I can brake much later. Nope. Gotta be patient.
Estras Chavez said, I usually watch the live stream in my computer or on the TV, usually is fine. I am on my phone right now, it is smaller for sure but not horrible.
Yeah. Hey Austin, it's gonna pull you to the race, don't worry. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because it's like, I tried to use all the dead space on the screen for overlays. Uh-oh. It's a garbage lap and still like faster than the before. Maybe lighter on the brakes, right?
New fastest lap for you.
No. Try not to crash. We have 8 minutes here.
You got a slow car on the left. Car stop on the
Oh,
left.
this used to be my
You got a slow car on the right.
my livery.
You got a slow car on the right.
That used to be my livery on this car.
You've got wheel damage.
No, I did not.
We got damage on the front end.
No, not true. No, I can still drive. Now let's just get a new car. Like this lap is over anyways.
Left side. Clear on the left.
It's been so long. It's been so long. Ah, no, 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 no. Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. He tried. Oh, no need to brake here. I remember this. I think I unlearned how to drive this car. At least on this track. Man, the guy's like 182 iRating. I wonder if like he's trying for a controller or something. Ah, maybe second gear, maybe second gear. Can I do a 103? Earlier on the brakes there. Okay, this is garbage, so...
Slow car ahead.
Man, the guy did like a 102 too. .7, we can do better.
Just set your fastest lap of the session.
Two or three more laps here. We gotta fix the last corner.
Car on your left. Clear on the left.
I need to be less afraid of the rotation of the Mazda. Do I need to even brake there? What a garbage entry. Got an off track.
Car stop on the left. New fastest lap for you.
We'll do this and one more. I promise that's gonna be the last one.
Car stop on the right. Go left.
Oh, that's very good. I think he was pulling into the race, which means he was fighting with me for no reason. Can we have a better exit? Let's see. Ah, barely. Was a 3.1 though. Ah, too early. Alright, that was good, that was good. I don't think a 3.1 is going to be competitive in a top split, but I was like 10 minutes practicing the car as well. Alright. So, let's get out of here. Did you guys like our GT4 livery? You're gonna be seeing a lot of that next season. Let me show, if you haven't seen it yet. Paint GT4. No, that's not it. That's not it. Sometimes it loads, sometimes it doesn't. Let me see the trading paints. Yeah, refresh paints. What do you guys think? My dog? So I was thinking about having something here. I just didn't find anything cool. Like, I think it has to be subtle. Has to be something like this color. And it has to be something that's... I just haven't found anything. But yeah, let me know. Let me know if you guys like it. And And that's pretty much it for today. So tomorrow, Formula Friday, we're gonna come back here. Different class, Formula. And we're gonna start with Lime Rock. Then we go
Esdras Chavez
to
said,
Okayama.
should put the ultrasound of the baby.
I thought about it. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. And then we close at Oldham Park International. I thought about it. I might still put it. One of the things that I thought about was to come here. And I don't know if my wife is still watching us today. But I thought about having my wife, my dog, and my daughter's name on the car. Maybe like somewhere like here, or on the top, somewhere that won't crash, right? Maybe here. That's actually one thing we can do right now, which is adding our name to the car. Any cool fonts? Maybe this one. Put it right here. And you tell to update it. Yeah, I think it's good, right? In case you don't know who's driving. Maybe slightly more centered. Yeah, I think it looks good. I think it looks good. I don't want to put their names on the bumper because that's the first thing you lose in an accident. So, you know, maybe on the wing. You like wing something that you lose less, right? Maybe on the upper part or on the bottom
Esdras
part.
Chavez said, nice, so I can easily know who is behind me next season, LOLJK.
Oh man, I had Cortez saying that somewhere. He was like, no, that's so cool. Now I know like who's behind me. All right. I don't have an answer for that, so I'll need like a full day to think about it. And tomorrow I might have an answer for that. Thanks everyone who joined today. I had a blast with the GT4, both like on the hot laps, like the coaching session, and like the AI racing. So yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed as well. I'll see you tomorrow for the Formula Friday. And then on Saturday, we're going to close our journey with this M2. This M2 is going to die if you don't know. We have a short video on YouTube talking about all the changes, or not all the changes, like a lot of the changes nobody cares about, right? But I would say like the main changes. So shorts, I did as a short because I want to do in 2 minutes or less. But here you are. Make sure after this video check it out. It's like 2 minutes. Everything you should know about this update that's coming for next season. I hope you can watch it and enjoy it.